In our last lecture on summer apple diseases, we learned about the three major fruit rots that impact apple production. In this lecture, we will focus on sooty blotch and fly speck, which are referred to as blemishes. These two diseases are almost always found together on the same apple and are considered to be a disease complex. At the end of this lecture, you should be able to recognize the sooty blotch and fly speck disease complex. You should be able to compare and contrast the signs and symptoms of sooty blotch and fly speck with the fruit rots, and describe the environmental conditions that favor sooty blotch and fly speck disease development. Sooty blotch and fly speck is often abbreviated as SBFS. And signs and symptoms of sooty blotch and fly speck were shown in botanical drawings as early as the 18th century and were considered to be a normal occurrence on many of the apple varieties. The disease name describes what the fungi look like on apples. Sooty blotch shows up as dark brown to black smudges. The blotches range in size from half-inch diameter circles to smears that can cover half of the apple surface. Some blotches are also very faint and barely visible. So in the last two images here, you can see the sooty blotch shown here in this circle as smears, or you can often see single circular lesions. So there's one here and then another one over here. Fly speck also resembles its name. Shiny black dots cluster together to form circular areas that range in size from a half-inch to more than an inch in diameter, as you can see in the first two pictures. So here's a larger cluster of these black dots, and this is what a close-up looks like of them. Up until the early 2000s, only a few fungal species were identified as the cause of sooty blotch and fly speck. However, analysis of the internal transcriber region and large subunit regions of ribosomal DNA of collections of fungi associated with these diseases revealed that there are at least 60 species of fungi in the disease complex. A review paper in Plant Disease by Mark Gleason at Iowa State University describes the various phenotypes of sooty blotch and fly speck and the fungi that are associated with the phenotypes. So you can see in the first image that there's different phenotypes associated with the complex, and that you can, in the second image, you can see the various fungal structures associated with those phenotypes. With so many fungal species causing sooty blotch and fly speck, it's not surprising that there are 50 or more reservoir hosts for sooty blotch and fly speck. Reservoir hosts include other woody plants such as wild blackberries, raspberries, grapes, and pawpaw. The fruit grows superficially on the surface of the apple, only colonizing the cuticle, as shown in the lower image here, image B. So you can see that the fungi penetrate through the cuticle, but they don't make it all the way down into the cells. Within the protective waxy cuticle, the fungi utilize nutrients that seep through the cells. Commercial growers can incur losses in the fresh market if fungicides aren't used. For organic growers, losses due to sooty blotch and fly speck can be very high. Because the fungi grow superficially on the apples, polishing and bleaching can remove some of the fungi and improve the appearance of the apples. However, this is labor intensive and increases the amount of handling of the apples, which can result in bruising and increased food safety risks. Apples with sooty blotch and fly speck that go into storage will often dehydrate more quickly than healthy apples. This is because the waxy layer is compromised due to the colonization of the fungi, and water within the apple can then evaporate. The disease cycles of sooty blotch and fly speck have several characteristics in common. Both can cause infection under a wide range of temperatures, so anywhere from 64 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Both require moisture and high humidity for infections to occur and for the disease to develop. Both have an extended incubation period between infections and the fungi appearing on the apple fruit, and the fungi that cause these diseases can overwinter on twigs and branches of apples, pears, and reservoir hosts. For sooty blotch, the smudge appearance results from the presence of hundreds of pycnothyria that are interconnected by a mass of loose interwoven dark hyphae, as shown in these images. In the spring, these pycnothyria produce large numbers of conidia that ooze out and collect in a gelatinous mass. When the pycnothyria mature, they crack open and release the conidia, and they need the temperatures between 64 and 80, as well as high humidity and moisture, in order to crack open and release the conidia. The conidia are then spread by water splash or wind-blown mists through the orchard from late May or early June until fall. Sooty blotch is most severe when cool, rainy weather in the spring is coupled with late summer rains and low temperatures in early fall. Under ideal conditions in the laboratory, the incubation period from infection to the appearance of the fungi may be as short as 5 days. However, in the orchard, this period usually lasts 20 to more than 60 days. Fruit infections can occur any time after petal fall, but the majority of the infections occur from mid to late summer. Fly speck in the Midwest and northeastern U.S. has predominantly been associated with the fungus Schizotherium palmae. Our knowledge of the fly speck disease cycle is based on S. palmae and its anamorph Zygophilia jamicensis. The fungus overwinters in Thyrothecia on twigs, and asci and ascospores are produced by S. palmae, while the anamorph produces conidia. Spores are released from the Thyrothecia in the late spring, shortly after bloom, and are dispersed by wind. Compared to the sooty blotch fungi, the incubation period between infection and the appearance of the fungi on the apples is shorter at only 10 to 15 days. Secondary fly speck infections are caused by conidia. So this ends the lecture on sooty blotch and fly speck. In our next lecture, we will discuss management strategies for summer apple diseases, including sooty blotch and fly speck and the fruit rot diseases.